Okay, well, the sun's starting to come out, so yeah, that's why the lighting's different. Anyways, back on there. Oh, I forgot where I left off. But, during the whole Hunger Games thing, like I said, I'm a hopeless romantic, so I loved the whole cave scene and thing, and it always was heartbreaking to me knowing that Katniss's heart at the moment was somewhere else, and I think it was always with Peeta in some way. She just never kind of wanted to accept it. She didn't want to accept it for Gale either, or anyone, because, I mean, like she said multiple times, she didn't want anything to do with love or kids, because that wasn't her interest. Her interest was the world around her, and you know, and also her love for her sister was always way greater than any love for any guy, and I loved that too, because it's a great message that family is always, for the most part, going to be there for you, in, you know, so you've got to love your family members, and it's great that she always kind of put her first, and she mentioned in Mockingjay, like, where she mentioned that she kind of was slacking on Prim, and I thought it was cute that they were caught up and everything, and of course Prim and her mom and her family and stuff had a smaller, sorry, that's weird, had a smaller little part in the first book, because again, they weren't there for the most part. But I loved how during the whole thing, Suzanne kept them in there with like her inner dialogue, and thinking about how they were, and just, and it was so strange to me, though, that in every single book, she never planned to return. Like, never. She was so focused on death, and I think she was so focused on death, she never really lived. And she never accepted love, and, you know, she took everything for granted, I think, Katniss did. Not that that makes her a bad person. Of course, she had a lot of other things on her mind, but I think she ended up regretting it at the end when, you know, again, this is a spoilers thing, so if you don't want spoilers, leave now. So I'll give you 5 seconds, and then I'll drop the bomb. Okay. When Prim died, I think that she, you know, I think she regretted that, because she's focused so much on Snow and killing Snow, and she never really thought that would be possible, but honestly, in the world, anything is possible, and they could be gone the next day, so I think that was a great message to, that most people didn't really come from the book, but I got from it, to love what you've got now, and even if you have bigger priorities, there's always that chance that they're not there, you know, later on. And of course, everyone's heard that before, but it's so true, and it was heartbreaking. Everything was heartbreaking, but she never really planned to come back, and she always prepared for hurting her family, and she prepared too much for her own death than anyone else's death, and I, you know, I don't know. I was going to say if she died that she'd miss them anyways, but I don't even, that's a whole different conversation. But anyways, so when she didn't, I think she knew all hell was going to go loose no matter what. You know, from the day she raped, I think she knew that something was going to happen from just the day on. And she always had that kind of thing. I always wonder, like everybody else, what if Gale, you know, took Peeta's place, like he mentioned in Mockingjay he wished he did. I think when he mentioned that to Peeta, even though Peeta was in that hijacked zone in Mockingjay, I think he was thinking, oh, hell no, I want to be with her. And like Peeta said, that he kind of found it, he was actually, in a way, happy about being, you know, he raped, and I loved that. I honestly did. And because, wow, there's just so much meaning, and I always felt heartbroken for Peeta, because he never really got, he got attention, but Katniss never appreciated him for the most part until he was gone, and that's when she started loving him. And again, that's, appreciate the people while you have them, because they might not be there later, and that's when you'll notice that you love them and you miss them and it hurts. And I think she definitely learned to love him, and then he didn't love her back. And it's a big lesson too, because you might love someone, like someone might love you, and then you're like, no, I don't love you. But if they don't love you anymore, and you love them now, well, then what are you going to do? So I thought that was a huge message too. But the whole thing, in some parts, I thought it kind of made Peeta too worshipy, and not that I hated that. I think it's sweet, but it's still, I think some people saw him as kind of a wimp in that way, and Gale's stronger. But Gale, like Gale said, I think he was just kind of there for the family, like that was his job and he failed, he said in Mockingjay, and that kind of broke my heart. I honestly don't blame Prim's death on Gale, like so many other people do, but he never even, I don't think he ever intended that to happen. Coin's just a bitch, so, and he never, BT either, I don't blame that on them, like so many other people do, but I understand why Katniss can't be with him, because there's always that question, and she was pissed about it, like, just, even if it was someone other than her family, and never intended. I got so many spoilers off of Tumblr, though, so I knew most of the things. Still, it was unpredictable, even with the spoilers, so I can't even imagine without the spoilers. So I already knew that Finnick was going to die, and that Prim was going to die. I knew how Prim was going to die, but I didn't know how Finnick was going to die. And I knew that I was going to cry at the ending, because that's all I knew, that not a lot of people liked the ending, and of Mockingjay. Like, I know I totally skip over Hunger Games, but, and Catching Fire, but I understand why people don't like the ending, because I didn't like the ending, really. I mean, that's the way I wanted it to end, and I, was happy, but, I mean, from something that chaotic, where they just, now it's all happy ever after, it's just too much of a story to just, see, I'm still speechless because I just read them. It's just too much, it's too of a, I don't even have the words, it's too much of a, difficult story to just end it with a normal life. Because Katniss was never intended to have a normal life. Like, that was never intended. I swear, that was never, ever. And, I don't even know what to say, because I don't know how I feel still. But how it just went off like that, I was like, what? That's it? Like, there wasn't even any... I wanted it more in depth. I think she did rush it, like a lot of other people say. I want it more in depth, and and I wanted to know what happened to Annie and Haymitch and her mom and Gale and everybody, and that was what pissed me off the most, because Suzanne Collins, I think she knew what she was doing, and I think she wanted to leave it up to our own imagination, so it would end the way we want it to end, but I don't want that. I don't like that kind of thing. I'm not a big fan for fan fiction, because it pisses me off that it's not official, and so when it's like that, I want to know what happens. See, if it were me, I would, because, I mean, it's like the future, so... in the future, in my mind, everything is invented, like everything we've ever wanted. So, and if it was since it was left to our imaginations for the ending, here's my ending. Finnick comes back from the dead, because, I don't know, maybe there's some, like, genie machine where you can just, like, put in your wish and then they come back, but that's what pissed me off. I love Finnick, like, to death. When he gets cast, that Tumblr's gonna be off the hook. I know it, and I'm excited, and cough, cough, I don't want Garrett Headlong, but, so, that's what I think should happen in there, and maybe that's what happened, Annie, wink, it probably didn't, but, they had to kill off the, like, good ones. Some people I've heard that don't like Prim, and I'm like, I don't understand how you don't like Prim, because Prim never did anything to anyone, and she was just loving, and she helped Katniss in so many ways, and without Prim, this whole story wouldn't be. And her love for her sister was always greater than anything. I actually named this bunny after Prim, because, sorry, it's my screensaver. It's actually a golden color, so, you know, Prim is golden, and she's all sweet and stuff. And the bunny, and it's just, her nose is all like light pink, and it just made me think of Primrose, so I named it after Prim right after I found out she was going to die off Tumblr like a month ago. And there's so many things that remind me too, and her death is just so I know it was needed, but it's just, in the movie I'm going to bawl. But what got me bawling and at the end of Mockingjay was the book, because I forgot most of the deaths, to be honest. But the book, when they were explaining how she was doing the book, and it literally, that's when I start crying, because I remembered how many deaths there were and how important each one was to her, and remembering, because it was some of the greatest characters that died, and I always wanted Peeta's dad, like, I know that they're supposed to be together, since, like, this can't happen and stuff, but I mean, it happened to Gossip Girl, so, but I always wanted Peeta's dad to get that moment with Katniss's mom, because heartbroken, I just, like, felt so heartbroken that he had to choose that witch, but without that witch, Peeta wouldn't be there, so, in his defense, so, and the story of how he met Katniss, and there's this picture that I posted on Tumblr, like, last night, and I don't know if you saw it. It's not my fan art, but it's a picture of, in Catching Fire. I actually loved Catching Fire. It was actually the most unpredictable in my point of view, because I thought at one moment it was going to be all about the tour, and so I thought that was what it was all going to be about. But then I realized that they were skipped over half the tour, and I didn't really like that. I kind of wanted to know what happened in every single district, even though I know it wasn't, there was so much more needed to be said. And then after that, I thought it was going to be about, you know, life in the district afterwards, and then no, no it's not. And then after that, I found out it's about the Quarter Quell, and I actually loved that Katniss broke down. Some people hated it when Katniss broke down and stuff. I liked it because it shows that the strongest people break down too. It's human nature. That's what we do. And that she broke down and, you know, got all drunk with Haymitch. It showed in some ways that Peeta was stronger than her in a way, and I was just baffled because I was like, what the hell? I didn't want to be pissed at Haymitch because she was pissed at Haymitch and stuff, but I adore Haymitch, so I was like, what? I don't want to be mad at Haymitch, so I was so sad about that, but I was, you know, and that she's just human, and I would have reacted the same exact way, so, you know, and it proves that Snow was, and then at the end, at the end, I was just baffled because I was like, what the hell? I didn't want to be pissed at Haymitch because she was pissed at Haymitch and stuff, but I adore Haymitch, so I was like, what? I don't want to be mad at Haymitch, so I was so sad about that, but I was glad in Mockingjay when all that went away and everything. But anyways, in Catching Fire on the train, those were my most favorite moments, especially when Haymitch said you could have got worse, you know, and about Peeta. And when he talked to her off the train and about the orange and the sunset orange, that I also love that in Mockingjay, the real and not real. Like, I'm sure everyone loved that, like, duh. But I actually, I wish they had more in depth at the end about the real or not real, you know, the do you love me real, that kind of thing. I wish they had more in depth than that, and in depth about everything. I just don't think the ending, I understand why she did it, because she left it for everyone else. I think, honestly, people would have been pissed if she did go in depth, because people wouldn't have got what they wanted, and, like, what if Gale died? We just don't know it, you know? Tons of people would be so mad. You know, it's like things like that. So she kind of left the ending for us to decide. I hated that, though, because I'm someone that can't control that. Like, I can't take that. But anyways, in the Catching Fire, when on the train, and in the before the Quarter Quell and stuff, when she would sleep in his arms, kind of like the cave, I loved that. and I posted this picture, and it was a fan art of that, and I said in it that sure, we have how Katniss felt, so she didn't really take it as lovey kind of experience, more of protection and not feeling lonely, and I think somewhere in there was love, but she never let love come out, and that's a big lesson learned there. And but then you have to think about how PETA probably felt during that, and it's so overwhelming because it's, you know, it's so hard to realize how much PETA really did love her, because all those years he dreamed about that happening. He never dreamed that it would actually happen. I like probably imagine that he thought it'd be near to impossible for that to ever happen. And there she is in his arms, that little girl with the braided pigtails and the red plaid dress was in his arms, and after all those times, and it made my heart melt, because people forget to think about how PETA feels then, and so much more love in there. I kind of wish that Suzanne would write sort of like how Stephanie Meyer did with Midnight Sun, even though it's not published and stuff. I kind of wish that she would write some of it in PETA's you know, point of view. I know she probably will never do that, but and especially during Mockingjay, because I always wonder what's going on. I'm not really even sure if I want to know, because I think it would break my heart, but still. And now there's so much more I could say, and if you go on Tumblr, I'm sure I'll say a lot, and I'm going to reread it. And I think my favorite, and this is, I think actually Mockingjay was probably my favorite, because it all went down and we got more of Gale, because I do love Gale. I love both of them, honestly. I love them both. And I just prefer PETA more. That just, you know, by hints. So I liked having more of Gale, so maybe Mockingjay is my favorite, but Catching Fire too. I loved them all. It's just, you have to read them all to understand the plot and stuff, because honestly the first book is not even the plot. And this will be a long one. All of these are long, but if you listen to this, I love you forever. And I want to read what I said about the movie, but I pretty much said it, how I think it will change everyone's view on the world, and I like this series more than Twilight in a way, and I love Twilight too, so don't get me wrong, but because it has more of a meaning. It's actually got a meaning, and I think it could influence the world in a positive way, and I think everyone should watch this, you know, read and watch the movies. My friend's convinced that the movies will suck because, you know, everyone has such a high expectation for it. But I have hope, so, and I think all the pictures are great. I might be a little disappointed in some parts if, you know, they cut off people like Cough Cough Madge, because I loved Madge too, and but I have hope that she's actually in there, and we just don't know it yet. And I don't know yet, because I don't even have a first movie to base this on, so, and I always have hope too, because since I want to be an actress, that I'll get into acting, and there's a possibility that I could get into Mockingjay, like the movie. That's my dream right now. I honestly think I could play a really good Deli, because I'm someone that loves to think like the positive, and I'm blonde like that, and I would adore that. I would adore it. Really, I would. And if they don't cut her out, I'd be so sad if they cut out Deli. To be honest, because Deli, every single character is a huge, huge part. So I don't think they can cut out anyone, but they probably will. And so I think it'll be a good influence, and entertaining-wise, great. I think it will make everyone's emotions go, and, you know, a positive way. I think people will think farther into the situation that the world is in, because honestly I think that there is a possibility that Panem could happen, like not an actual thing, but something like Panem could happen in the future, because I mean, to be honest, you know, I sometimes despise human beings, and not all of them, but the way that some of them, it's like racist, and all these just things like that that's just so pathetic in my point of view. I think we all should love each other for who we are and what we are, because other people love you for who you are, so why can't you love someone else for who they are, you know? And stupid things like the riots right now that have no point, like no point at all, that pisses me off. And just for the fact of destruction, they're in this book. Here, I gotta find it now. In Mockingjay, he says, I don't remember if it was Hamish. I think it was Hamish that said this, but it was the perfect quote for what's going on right now. I will find this. Okay, right here. On page 379. Oh yeah, on Mockingjay. Okay, I think Plutarch says this. He says, "Oh, not now. Now we're in that sweet period." What? Sorry, I had to edit something out because my mom came in. Okay. Anyways, Plutarch says, "Oh, not now. Now we're in that sweet period where everyone agrees that our recent horrors should never be repeated, but collective thinking is usually short-lived. We're fickle, stupid beings with poor memories and a great gift for self-destruction. Though who knows, maybe this will be it, Katniss." But I think that was a great example for things that are going on, like in London, because honestly, all they want is self-destruction, and it's things like Panem could have happened, and I hope it stops a lot of it, but some people don't think as deep as me and like other people and some people in the fandom. I love the thinkings of so many people. It's inspired me in so many ways, and I'm going to, I feel a creative spark from this, and I'm actually going to write a fan fiction. Holy crap, my hair. Sorry. I'm going to write a fan fiction about, a girl in District 4 that I made up for a application for Tumblr games that I can't use anymore, and me, and I'll put her Tumblr in the description. But me and Taylor, we are going to combined her. She's gonna write part of a fan fiction that she put the application, like put for her application. That's amazing, and we're going to combine it, and it's going to be lovely. And I want to write songs about this, and just creative sparks. Who knows, make a video. I really don't know. Sorry for this very long video, because you love me, you'll deal with it. I had a lot of thoughts about this, and I love it, so I have to comment about everything. Altogether, best series ever, so go read it. Like, it's great writing, and it's speechless. Go read it. Just go read it. Yeah, go read it. Okay, bye.